What are cryptocurrency wallets and addresses? Why are there so many of them, and how do they actually work? You may have gotten past the really early newbie stage of cryptocurrency where you have no idea how to even use it, and now you know how to send and receive, basically copy and paste addresses, things like that. Just get by. Congratulations, that's great. But you're probably still pretty confused as to how these things actually work. And guess what? If you're a crypto pro as well, there's still probably something you can learn from this. I'm just trying to break down the concept and how it works on a greater understanding level and basically get us past just the, well, you copy paste, do this, put this in here, and then that's how you do it, and then that's kind of all you know. So hopefully you'll learn something from this you didn't already know and kind of get a greater full understanding on how this, bizarre new technology really works. Now, this is a deep dive for newbies. Don't come after me if you're like, well, but it's actually UTXO, the input output. I'm trying to make a complex subject easy so you can actually understand the full depth of the thing without actually having to master the whole thing. So forgive my metaphors. If you disagree, make a better video. What can I say? Anyway, let's get going. So first off, we have to differentiate between wallets, addresses, and exchanges, which there's a million different other things, but those are the main things that people will be interacting with and will be, let's be honest, confusing for each other. So first off, a wallet is a container for your money. That's basically what it is. It's a digital container where you can put all your money in and use it to send other things. And so anyone using cryptocurrency uses a wallet to send and receive things. Consider it like your actual wallet. You have a little pouch where all your money goes in. When people give you money, it goes in there, and then you take it out to give to other people. It's the same basic concept. Generally speaking, when people are talking about wallets, they mean something that you control yourself. As in, no one can just take it from you. No one decides where the money goes. Only you. You have absolute control over it, kind of like the wallet in your own pants. Now, what's an address then? I thought that was the wallet. Well, an address is a part of the wallet you can use to receive and send money. So consider it like a pouch in your wallet, right? You got your whole wallet. You flip through the pouches. Oh, there's money in this one. You can take it from there and send it. There might be other money in other pouches. Or when you receive it, you put it in different ones. So an address is a way of getting money into the wallet. It's also where it is when you take it out of the wallet. The wallet is a container of addresses. That's kind of the easiest way to think of it. And finally, an exchange, and I'm not differentiating between exchanges and brokerage services and the more technical hair-splitting things on that. But basically, it's a site or an app where you can buy and sell cryptocurrency. Unlike most wallets, if you have an exchange account, you don't actually control that money. It's yours, I guess legally, but the funds are in control of another entity. And if they go crazy, they can decide to take it all away. Now, exchange accounts do come with a wallet. It's just not a wallet you control. A wallet can have more than one address. An exchange can operate many wallets, but not all wallets are owned by exchanges. Generally speaking, just as you'd want most of your cash to be in a wallet in your own pants, you want most of your digital cash to be in a wallet that you control. So basically, to make it super simple, if wherever you keep your crypto, if it doesn't tell you to back it up or write down a recovery phrase or something like that, then it's not really where you should be storing your money. You should store it in one that does ask you these kinds of things that you do actually have control over, and only put it in a place that you don't have control over when you want to actually swap it around. Now here comes the really confusing part that I'm hopefully going to make a little less confusing. Why are there so many addresses? Why do you have to get a new one every time? What are all these little inputs and outputs and things like that? It gets really confusing. I've never heard anyone really explain it too well, but try to think of it like cash, right? If you have cash, you don't just have a lump sum of money. You have a bunch of units of cash that you use to pay and get change for and all those kinds of things like that. So think of an address as a little disposable cup or container that you can kind of use once and then, get rid of. And a wallet is a whole stack, an infinite stack of these kinds of containers. So say I have a wallet and I have an address and this is the money I have in there. Okay, so I'm going to go pay for something. Something costs $8. So here I go, whoop, take the $10 out because that's what I have. But it was $8. So of course you get change and this goes into a separate one. So now this address is empty and you got change into the change address. That's kind of how that works. So let's say you want to get paid. Instead of just showing someone this address, oh look, they can see what's in there already. Now we'll use a different one, a whole new one, so we don't let the whole world know how much money we have. All right, so someone paid me $1, so whoop, here it goes. Goes into this one, right? Oh, someone paid me $2. Here we go. Right into this one. Oh wait, now someone paid me $20. Whoa, here we go. Into this one. So now this is my wallet. I have all these. So now this is my wallet. I have all these addresses with different little bits of money in them. And by the way, I swear it's not nearly as difficult to juggle in real life. It's kind of automated. Okay, so now what happens if I want to spend this stuff? Well, what happens if something costs $10? I would take the $20 input, give it over, and into my little change address here, whoop, there goes $10. So then I spent 10, I got the 10 back. There you go. Now what if I want to buy something that costs $12? Well, I got this 10 chunk and this 2 right here. So I take both of these, whoop, empty them out, and there you go. That's what I use. And so on and so forth. Generating new addresses every time adds greater privacy, so it's harder for someone who pays you to see how much money you have and who else you might have paid. Really privacy conscious people will be careful to never get any change back, or combine funds from different addresses in a single transaction. For even better privacy, there's also mixing services that break up your money into pieces, mix them with other people's money, and give you back a balance that no one can see where it came from, so you can spend it, but it isn't easily traced back to you. And I know it seems a little complicated, but wallets do automate this kind of a thing. So if I send you whatever, I just send whatever amount I want to, and you get whatever back, and all the juggling of the different inputs and the little different addresses and baskets and things, that all happens back end. You don't really need to know about that unless you're an advanced user, a super privacy conscious user, whatever it is. You don't really need to care too much about that stuff. Just remember, get a new address every time you want to get paid. That's a pretty easy rule to remember, right? Depending on which cryptocurrency you use, you might have to deal with the unfortunate thing of different address formats. There's so many different address formats depending on which one. You'd think, oh, I just send to this one for this coin, this one for the other cryptocurrency, whatever. But no, some have multiple formats, and it can get pretty confusing. But in most cases, you only really have to deal with one. The others can serve advanced functionality, usually multi-signature. Bitcoin Cash added a new address format so people would stop sending to Bitcoin addresses accidentally. So now there's 2. Bitcoin addresses could start with a 1 or a 3 for script hash, or a BC1 for SegWit, including for getting on the Lightning Network. Some addresses are multi-sig, meaning they're controlled by multiple people. So I broke down how this works with different denominations, making change, having different little pockets called addresses, all that kind of stuff. But is this the way all cryptocurrencies work? Or is it just things like, say, Bitcoin and Dash? Well, no. UTXO-based cryptocurrencies, as they're known, do work like this. But others are account-based, and they don't actually have these kinds of things. That works a lot more like, say, a bank account. All right, so you got A and B, right? A has $100, B has nothing. And then when you make a transaction, there we go, plus 50 from A to B. A now has 50 and B now has 50. And that's kind of how it works, except without the atrocious handwriting. Some notable cryptocurrencies that use this kind of system are, say, Ethereum and Nano and things like that. And they'll only have one address, right? You send and receive to one address. You don't do this whole getting a new address thing every time. And you don't have pieces of coins around that you join together. Just send, receive, that's it. Account-based cryptocurrencies are simpler and save data, but have worse privacy because all transactions are tied to one account. They also make specific funds harder to identify and single out, which is good for fungibility, or making all similar units of money the same, but can make it harder to identify a specific set of funds, such as that were used for a historical transaction or stolen funds. And finally, we get to the subject of usernames, or rather, human-readable usernames. There are a few different schemes that are out there that basically go on top of the base layer. So at the base layer, the way it actually works under the hood is always going to be these long cryptographic hashes that you send and receive to, for the most part, right? Username systems kind of go on top of there and help do, like, @theflying_squirrel sends to @Jenny5 or whatever the usernames are. You put those in, and under the hood, it goes back and forth the same as we described above, but it just looks a lot prettier. It's a lot easier on the surface. Now, most username setups, regardless of the coin that they use, just resolve to one address, just a single address, even if it's a coin that uses the UTXO system. Therefore, it kind of harms privacy because you're just sending the same address over and over, which is a big no-no, as of course we know. There are starting to be some that even though I send to the same username 3 times in a row, it will get a new address every single time, back end. And so you don't have those kinds of problems. Here's a real quick kind of generic breakdown of the username setups that are out there right now. I'll do a longer video on this in maybe a couple months or something, breaking down in greater detail all the different username systems so you can kind of see which ones you like. Some blockchains like Steam/Hive have usernames instead of addresses, which means you can easily look up someone's entire transaction history. ENS and Unstoppable Domains for Ethereum, but also other coins, as well as FIO, resolve to a static address, so after sending to one, you can look up the transaction history. Handcash and Paymail resolve to a new address every time, as do Dash usernames, which, depending on when you're watching this, are either on testnet or fully deployed on mainnet. FIO and Handcash let you send extra data along with your transaction, though with Handcash, the data is internal to their own wallet system. Any and all contact lists are centrally stored on the wallet service you use. Only Dash contact lists are protocol level, meaning your username and contact lists follow you whichever app you plug your decentralized identity into. So that's it on this whole topic of wallets and addresses and things like that. Are you even more confused than you were before? Well, I hope not, but either way, it shouldn't have to matter for very much longer because there's a whole lot of systems, as I described about the usernames, that are coming up that are making this a lot easier. And I have a feeling in the next few years, no one who isn't like a coder, who isn't like developing back-end solutions for companies and things like that, will almost never see an address, a raw address anymore. I mean, think about it with cars. Almost no one in the US at least, I know it's different in other countries, actually deals with a manual transmission where you shift the gears like I do on my car. Very few people do that, and then in a few more years, there will be probably a lot fewer gasoline vehicles, so almost no one will know how to pump gas or anything like that. It's just the way things evolve. So my prediction is within just a few years, anyone using cryptocurrency will have to look for these old school addresses, and you won't really have to care about this anymore. But this is just a general understanding bit, so you get to see kind of how the whole thing works under the hood, right? Without actually having to be an advanced user. Just so you kind of know what's going on under there, even if you don't 100% understand it, just for a good overview. So anyway, I'll see you guys next time, but please feel free to tell me what other topics you might want to see covered that I haven't yet done. Let me know, and I will see you guys.